We'll move forward to our first company presentation. So next up, we have Strategic Energy Resources, who's a Queensland-focused Copper-Gold Explorer with a portfolio of 4 highly prospective projects. This includes Diamantina, an advanced exploration asset recently acquired from Anglo-American, and a series of drill programs across all 4 projects in the portfolio will deliver sustained news flow for the next 12 months. Here to talk about it today is SER's Managing Director, David DeTata. Please take it away, David, and welcome today.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone, for joining NWR's Copper Virtual Conference. We've just seen John Ford put together a pretty exciting time for the next, in the short term and long term, for copper. And today I'm going to run you through, as Alex mentioned, our 4 major copper projects. We're all set to take advantage of those tailwinds over the next 12 months as we set to get on ground and drilling in search of Australia's next major copper deposit. Firstly, the corporate overview. You'll see the directors that sit next to me on the board. Plenty of youth, but also experience and competence in identifying projects, but then evaluating and getting on ground and doing the exploring. The cash balance, we've raised some money recently in T1, T2, the second tranche will settle at the end of this month. And that'll see us cashed up with half of the amount of cash as our current market cap to explore the 4 projects that you can see on the bottom of the screen across or in Queensland. So there's plenty of room within Queensland for the next major discovery. And we've got 4 projects over huge land areas that we look to drill in the next 12 months in search of that next discovery. This is the main game. This is the page that says everything about what's happening in the company in the next 12 months. You'll see the projects we've got on the left, and then the timeline of how we get to be on ground drilling each one of these projects in the next 12 months. First of all, the Isa North project, ex-Newcrest project undercover. We'll go into some detail shortly, but we're at the stage now where we will have earthworks starting at the end of this month, the drill rig spinning up this month. That'll see us test 2 major targets that Newcrest wanted to test when they had the project, but simply weren't able to. The Kenobi project is being explored with FMG. They're earning into the project. And just last month, they committed to a $3 million budget to drill 4 holes between now and the middle of next year, searching a tier 1 size copper deposit. They are in it for the big numbers of copper, and they have chosen SER's Kenobi project within Queensland to be that project in the next 12 months. The Diamantina project we announced last month, that was the acquisition from Anglo-American, and that has taken us from a junior explorer looking for a discovery to then buying essentially some fantastic intercepts that puts us in great stead to get on ground and follow up in the next 12 months. Lastly, the Bulimba Gold project. Since 2023, when we first identified this project, which is also an ex-Newcrest ground, we've started on-ground activities just last week, and I'll be on ground next week. Preparations are now underway for us to get on and start drilling that gold project early next year. So you can see 4 projects with a commitment to be drilling across all of them in the next year. And the difference between us and other juniors is how we then make that dollar that we've raised just recently go even further across those projects. And I'll roll through that as we get through the presentation. Firstly, let's just touch on the acquisition of the Diamantina project. This project sat within Anglo-American since 2018. Little to no outward focus news or information about exactly what they were doing and why they were doing it. And you can see the area in the bottom of the screen, the 2 project tenements that we've picked up as part of this project. We've now added to add 3 more tenements to the larger project area. And you can see from 2018 through to 2021, a lot of background work was done by Anglo-American. And then between 2021 and 23, a whole range of diamond holes were put into this project. Essentially what they did was follow up on 2 major previous exploration efforts that were undertaken by Red Metal. And they followed up with some significant diamond drilling and some shallow drilling at the Elizabeth Springs East and West project areas. And you can see as we go to some intercept tables here, you can see DTD 002, 161 meters of 0.4 copper, with higher grade sections within that intercept, including 0.67 at 25.6% copper. So this was their first immediate follow-up hole at Elizabeth Springs East, and they did much better than what was done previously. What you can see in the following list of intercepts that go on from DTD002 is a number of shallow and deeper holes in and around the prospect area, which take that mineralizing extent from the single drill hole to what is now a 4 by 2 kilometer area of highly prospective copper undercover. And this includes some shallow drilling, which is some obvious places for us to get back to the moment we can get on ground. And that's off 400 meters to the west, where they've intersected 0.5% copper over 6.5 meters as part of a shallow drilling program that was undertaken by Anglo-American. We have a look at that in cross-section here in Elizabeth Springs East, 4 kilometres by 2 kilometres, with exploration drill holes intercepting mineralisation 400 metres plus apart in the north-west direction off to the southwest. Plenty of areas for us to follow up on from these original drill holes that were undertaken. We have a look then at the Elizabeth Springs West project, 2 drill holes done by Anglo-American, following up on some historical drill holes by Red Metal. And here we have 300 meters apart. We're hitting mineralization at different depths, but at large extents. So this 1.3 by 1 kilometer anomaly that we will be going up and following up on recently, or in the next 12 months, there's plenty of room for higher grade, shallower intercepts right across this project area. We quickly have a look at the consideration for the project. As I said, we managed to buy this project. This is 100% ours once it moves through the tenement transfer process within Queensland. $300,000 cash and $300,000 in shares. This puts Anglo-American firmly on our register, which is a fantastic place to have a major on board, but also sees small amounts of cash going out and allows us to then get on ground and spend the cash that we've raised to test not only the Elizabeth Springs East and West, but a number of anomalies that would have been identified in the immediate area to these 2 prospects. We put forward a program as part of the transfer of this project to Anglo-American, which will see us spending $1 million over the next 2 years, largely offset by an R&D activities that we're able to take on as part of being involved in this project, and some preliminary activities that we see happening in the next 12 months. The big opportunity for us is to understand the correlation between where the drill holes were and underlying magnetic and gravity signatures. So immediate place for us to start is to go and improve the mag and the grav, which will see us better target in a round of drilling to start next year. Obviously, there were some shallower holes that intersected mineralization, and an easy place for us to start alongside that is to simply re-drill where we've started. We know we can hit mineralization in the first 6.5 meters at 0.5% copper at DCT010. So then the depth extent and whether grades are increased from that point is an obvious place for us. And there you can see in the top right-hand corner that 25.6% assayed intercept from DTD002. As I mentioned, the first program that will get underway is at our Nadu prospect on our Isa North project. Just to give you some context here, we are 100 k's north of Mount Oxide and Aquila, True North Copper, of course, and 29 Metals Capricorn deposits. We follow the Mount Gordon fault undercover to this central area. You have the Nadu prospect. We find ourselves surrounded by FMG and Anglo-American. Obviously, they're looking for the same thing we are, tier 1 style copper undercover. Zooming into that Nadu prospect, this is the Nadu cluster that we'll be targeting in this drill program coming up, as I said, to start this month. This Nadu prospect in the middle was identified by Newcrest as the next place to drill. They were unable to get on ground due to land access. Since taking on this project, we've cleared that all way for land access. We have native title clearances. We'll be starting earthworks, as I've mentioned, this month, and we'll be targeting the N8 and the N7 prospects. And just to give you an idea of what we are targeting, these are large size magnetic targets undercover. The first drill hole, N8, $275,000 from the Queensland government, thank you, to allow us to get on ground and drill that one. The second one, which will follow from that first drill hole, is also covered under an R&D rebate for this project. So we'll see a $600,000 project done for not even a third of the cost. As I've mentioned, the size and scale of these drill holes that they're targeting were good enough for Newcrest to put money behind, but we're unable to. Definitely good enough for us as a junior explorer to get on ground and test. As I mentioned, earthworks this month, drilling next month. The third project we're going to touch on is the one that is being explored with our partners Fortescue. And this all started back in 2023 when they identified this area of ground north. We're here about 140 kilometres north of Ernest Henry along the Gidia suture zone, so the same suture zone that heads back to Ernest Henry undercover. They identified this project within SER. They approached SER. We then struck up an $8 million 6-year joint venture agreement where SER is operating and retains a 5% operator fee and also gets our wages paid while we explore. First year on ground, 3 drill holes, trace levels of copper, but enough to get back into the program. Last month, as mentioned, $3 million exploration budget was approved by the exploration committee with a view to get on ground and drill 2 holes to 3 holes as soon as possible this year. Later on this month, we'll have a native title clearance running across those areas that we've identified. We have an MT survey currently underway across the same prospects we are targeting. We see ourselves drilling this project until the weather turns right up to the end of the year. And lastly, I'll finish on the Bulimba Gold project. This project, as I said, also Newcrest. We found ourselves on site last week doing initial site recon visit. I'll be on site next week, further site recon visits, meeting with landholders. We see this project as a lot shallower than the other 3 projects we've already managed, so we're going to move straight from initial site recon straight into exploratory drilling. We see the weather closing out this year. That means early next year we'll be on ground to do a shallow period of drilling across these targets to the eastern side of the project area. And this project area, as we trace back this major fault, the Gambula Palmerville fault, you can see some, obviously, King Vol, Red Dome, Mangana. This is 2.7+ million ounces of gold sitting along the same structures within 100 kilometres away. This is an ex-Newcrest project that were there for the same reasons we are, targeting significant gold mineralisation undercover. So to summarise the SER, where we are quite at this very moment, we have 4 major copper-gold projects within Queensland, all that have the obstacles removed that will see us drilling across all 4 of them in the next 12 months. With Diamantina, we've managed to take from Anglo-American $30 million of historical expenditure, wrap that up in a project which has got some significant drill holes already, and we have everything in front of us to get on ground and target not only the same mineralisation, but more mineralisation at the existing prospects and the ones that are now being recently identified. The only way to deliver results for shareholders is to get on ground and drill, and we've got those projects ahead of us, and we're set to do that all starting this month. Mentioned the strategic advantage to the way of the SER goes about handling our capital expenditure, and that's to leverage all of our projects with not just government funding, but R&D. And that'll see us taking the money we've raised recently, drilling all the way through to the middle of next year in the chance of making Australia's next copper discovery. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, David. Thanks for running through that. You've got many ways to win there, and you're exercising great capital efficiency. So the money you raised recently will go a long way to helping uncover what you've got at each of those 4 exciting projects, and a steady stream of news flow ahead. Got a few minutes for a few questions. So so you touched on it briefly there, but just wanted to ask a bit more. Will the Anglo acquisition translate to them being a significant investor on your register when that's all settled and sorted?
Yeah, that's right. They'll hit just under 5% by the time the T2 settlement has occurred, and both stage payments. So the first payment is based on tenement transfer, ensuring that there's no regulatory hurdles to getting the project. The second one is based on the transfer of native title deed of assignments. So we wanted to make sure in putting this agreement back and forth with Anglo that there were no impediments from native title or landholders to us exploring, and that'll settle, we're hoping, for early next year, which will then allow us to get on ground. We have actually been out there and visited the site. We've walked across the holes. We had a fantastic site visit with our friends at Anglo-American, and the data transfer from all the geophysics that was collected, as well as all the additional drill hole data, is slowly coming through, and we'll be working our way through that over the next few months.
Very good. One other question. So as well as having Anglo in your orbit, you've also got Fortescue, so got some pretty big names. So you've got them as a JV with Kenobi, you mentioned. They've just allocated 3 mil to the project for the year. So they obviously seem pretty committed, pretty excited about it. What do you think they're seeing now?
Well, just to back over that, so $3 million that they've approved in their exploration budget for this year does not include any of the current geophysics that's underway right now. So there's an MT magnetotelluric survey across 4 prospects that they want to drill. That's underway. That'll finish in the next month. There's a gravity survey that's just finished, and prior to that, a number of preceding gravity surveys. So they've taken their time over the last year and a half to develop these targets. And Fortescue won't drill anything unless there's a chance of having a significant mineralized body at the end of it. Put into perspective, the first year of drilling, we were drilling plus 1,000-meter holes before we started hitting anything of the magnetic body, which is what they're targeting. And the same goes for this next drill program. It's an investment of $3 million, but essentially all of that is on salaries and putting the hole in the ground. So their view is that they're not going to commit that sort of expenditure unless what is potentially the end of the drill string is something of significant size, enough for Fortescue to move forward with.
Excellent. Sounds great. We'll have to wrap it up there, David, but thank you for presenting today. Thank you for your time. We'll be keeping a close watch on how things unfold from here. Looks very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.